Morning and welcome to dirty-hands.com. Bit of an overcast rainy day today, but I wanted to just pop out in this spot in between showers and talk to you about cherry tomatoes and this great system I have of really getting a huge productivity out of such a small area of garden. We're in the kitchen garden today. This is where we grow all the stuff that we can just quickly pop from the kitchen out and grab a handful of lettuce, some tomatoes to make salads and whatnot. Now this garden gets about 25% less sun than the main garden, so we have tried to grow main vine type here with limited success because there just isn't the sunshine. However, with cherry tomatoes you'll quickly find you don't need as much sunlight as the main vining types. They ripen a lot quicker and need a lot less sunshine to produce a crop. We specifically use sun golds, and I firmly believe that sun golds, because they don't go bright red, take even less time to reach maturity. And this block is all about sun golds, and they're great. Any of you that follow Hugh Fearnley-Whittingstall know it's one of his favourite tomatoes. Lovely orange colour to them. Great in salads, but also fantastic when roasted. They've got a great sweetness to them. Now this huge block of tomatoes is 4 foot, maybe a bit more than 4 foot by 3 foot, and contains, I guess, 12 plants in there, and we've just let it go crazy against normal suggestions. If any of you are tomato growers, you know you'll be looking at this and going, oh my god, what's he done? It's quite simple. With cherry tomatoes you don't need to pick out the suckers as much, and you can let them go rampant because they don't need as long to grow the fruit or to ripen. You can let the suckers grow, and that allows you to get a lot more fruit on your plants. So although there's 12 plants here, top growth wise there's probably 24, maybe 48 shoots coming off that, all of which is going to grow some fantastic tomatoes. And as you can see here, that's the kind of amount of tomatoes you just get from one section. Now to support this amount of growth you need a sturdy framework. I've just used leftover bits of bamboo cane and wood I had, and you basically build it about 4 feet high with a horizontal bar about 2 feet high and the second one at the top, and then also cross beams across. Ideally you want to have a square frame around each tomato plant for it to grow up and out of, and it needs to be pretty sturdy because you're going to tie in all the stems and also all the suckers into this framework, which then allows all this top growth to occur, and that's where you get the extra tomatoes from. Now this is a great system because you can, as you can probably see from all the tomatoes, you get a huge crop of tomatoes for such a small area, and I definitely believe this outcrops our main production. However, with this amount of growth you're going to get problems of fungal disease if you're not careful, and I can see a few bits starting to occur on ours because I haven't been out and trimmed this in a while. And the main thing you have to do is, between this horizontal bar and the ground, is any leaves below that height you need to cut out, and the reason for that is that allows air to blow through underneath, and it blows away any fungal spores and stops any coming up from the soil into the leaves, and they just then spread upwards. But if you can take out all this lower leaf, you'll stop that, and it will keep all this top growth pretty healthy. Other thing to kind of tell you about is, here's the example of a sucker. So that's the sucker coming in at about the 1.5 foot, and I've trained that horizontally along. Now what that then does is that then puts out suckers that go vertically higher up. So it's almost an espalier system. And you can just leave it. The other good thing is it's not a lot of work. Now, the other thing to be remember with this is you can scale it to whatever size you want. I've expanded this by a couple of foot for the last few years and it's worked well. But there's no reason, if you want to use a container, you could do just one of these as a section, have a large pot in the bottom full of loose soil, have a cherry tomato plant in it, and then form a cage around it. And then you could let it just go crazy, and for one pot you could get a lot of tomatoes. If you are container gardening and haven't got a bed like ours, you could use the same frame system but use a pot in each section, which will work great. A lot more sturdier. Please don't use those horrible tomato wire cages that they give you. Looks like a cone and they just fall over and they really don't work. One other thing for those of you interested in kind of perennial gardening, which I'm looking more and more into, is these cherry tomatoes are great. Even in our harsh winter conditions, they just they self-sow. They drop into the bottom there. You dig them in the fall, and come spring they come back up again. And believe it or not, all of these are from last year. We haven't planted anything in there. In fact, I think I pulled out about 2 buckets of seedlings that I passed on to the neighbours. Great product. So I highly recommend this. So main things to do this that you need is the framework. Got to have a good sturdy framework. Highly recommend the Sun Gold cherry tomato for doing this with. One, for flavour most importantly, but also just for ease of growth. And then 3, just make sure you cut out the leaves at the bottom. Let that air through, it'll keep it disease free. Well, that's it. That's our one on easy growing a lot of tomatoes. We've got some recipes on these ones that we'll be posting a bit later, so take a look at the recipe section. Thanks for watching. This is Dirty Hands at dirty-hands.com.